You start doing like I do a series, and then suddenly it has to look like that. And the blue will have to jump over there, and the red will jump over here. On all the paintings. Why? Because that's the way this image looks. No, it's the way I make it look. But it's as if suddenly there's something which is right and something which is wrong. Which means that you have created or found, established an existing place. So this room with the two doors is now an existing place. Strange, I don't understand what's going on. Take this one. That's a bad one. The title of this exhibition is Rodchenko's Corridor. And as we know, Alexander Rodchenko in 1921 made 3 canvases that sort of became final in Western modern art. He took one canvas painted blue, another red, and another yellow. And it's as if he said, after me, nothing. This is it. This is it. After me, everything will be a variation on these basic elements that the paintings were. And of course, at the same time, Malevich would do black on black, white on white, white on black, black on white. And we were in a situation where they were sort of emptying the old, what do you say, richness, the variations in Western art. And I was in, for half a year, I was in some workshops that the Danish state has in Copenhagen. And I was there for 5 months every day. And for some reason, the corridor came to my mind. First of all, a door. And then if you do 2 or 3 doors, it becomes a corridor. So it has a certain length. And then I thought, if I had the 3, why not make them Rodchenko blue, Rodchenko red, Rodchenko yellow? And so it became Rodchenko's Corridor. And of course, a door will always be open or closed. It's nothing, it's not mysterious. This is not mysterious. And it's not a joke. But it has a certain uncertainty. Can you open these? Are they closed? Is this a view? Are we looking through an opening? Are we inside? Are we outside? Is this a room? Is this an outdoor wall? And suddenly, during those 5 months, every painting in this exhibition came to life. I didn't have the plan, and they suddenly one grew to the other, to the other. It was a magic moment. And of course, what it consists of are very firm decisions. I mean, no mistakes. I show you that I can make a straight line. And at the same time, I show you that I can make not a mistake, but the opposite of a straight line. So this is a play on loose and free and strict and organized, which is like language, which is my other media, is that you have to give your stories a shape. You have to start, they have to develop, and they have to finish. And if the finish is a punchline, you made it. And suddenly, the door obsessed me to the point where, without being, again, mysterious, it has a certain secret. And if it doesn't have a secret, why make it? If this is a statement, you better believe me. At the same time, you have to think, is he right or is he wrong? Well, out of Rodchenko's Corridor came other titles. And this one is called L'Atelier de Harlequin, Harlequin's Studio. Because I imagined that if Harlequin, the figure from Commedia dell'arte, was a painter, this is what he would paint. So this is a detail of the painter, which it always is. It's a canvas in the studio, and if he decorated the wall, this is what he would do. And then suddenly, L'Atelier de Harlequin becomes the Picasso reference, and that's sort of the other half of my luggage. Rodchenko, Duchamp, and then Picasso, Matisse. And I used to work for the theater, and I used to travel with the circus, and it was a big part of my life that what took on stage, what happened on stage, and also what happened on rather primitive stages. I sort of liked the stage sets of a certain roughness, the marketplace, the fun fair, the sideshow. So this is this is Harlequin's studio once he retired and started to paint. And the only thing he could think of was the stylized rag of his lousy and colorful costume. Well, out of Rodchenko's corridor came other titles, and this one is called L'Atelier de Harlequin, Harlequin's studio, because I imagined that if Harlequin, the figure from Commedia dell'arte, was a painter, this is what he would paint. So this is a detail of the painter, which it always is. It's a canvas in the studio, and if he decorated the wall, this is what he would do. And then suddenly, l'Atelier de Harlequin becomes a Picasso reference, and that's sort of the other half of my luggage. Rodchenko, Duchamp, and then Picasso, Matisse. And I used to work for the theater, and I used to travel with the circus, and it was a big part of my life that what took on stage, what happened on stage, and also what happened on rather primitive stages. I sort of liked the stage sets of a certain roughness, the marketplace, the fun fair, the sideshow. So this is Harlequin's studio once he retired and started to paint. And the only thing he could think of was the stylized rag of his lousy and colorful costume. The title of this painting is actually a quote, or semi-quote, Another French Window, which of course plays on Marcel Duchamp's famous Another Fresh Widow, where he has a French window as a small model, and you read, because you recognize it easily, and you read, to be looked at from the other side. And you move around and it says, to be looked at from the other side. Trying to make meaningful images today. Rodchenko is one very interesting obstacle because he killed the painting. And Duchamp did the same thing with modern art because he replaced the object with the idea or the expression. If you then, like I do, out of love, still try to handle and fondle and manipulate and direct some materials to the point where an image makes sense, you have to admit that they were there. You have to admit that you know you are, what do you say, trespassing in an impossible neighborhood because you're doing something that has been killed off. Still, we are a couple of thousand people everywhere, every city, every country, that again and again will try to articulate something that is carrying a meaning. I mean, what is this? This is a joke. This is an accumulation des erreurs. There are so many mistakes. It's so badly painted that the combination of all the mistakes, I hope, become beautiful. It's one color and it's a lot of different blues. And so it's what I say and it's also what I do not say. And it is what I claim and what Duchamp would kill off. He is our father, and don't we kill them off at a certain time? The fact is that you cannot do a fast stroke slowly. You have to do a fast stroke fast. Because if you hesitate, it shows. So if you do this one slowly, it shows uncertainty, indecision, fear, weakness. You have to risk it Then you may redo it, you may cover it again and start again. But once you decide for the speed, this is the way it goes. So this, of course, again holds, I hope, the balance between risking and knowing. I mean, this is taped off. This isn't easy work. This is easy work. This is risky work. And there's a rule. I think maybe I've made it myself. There's a rule that if you bring opposites together, they should be really opposite. I mean, the free should be very free, and the strict should be very strict. Silence should be silent, and noise should make noise. Only then can you combine the two, and they can live together. So this is an interior from the studio with a canvas. I don't know if this is the painting or it's the light hitting the canvas. I don't know if this is a real shadow. I don't know if this is outdoor, indoor, but I know that it combines accuracy and anarchy. Well, anarchy within frames. Well, these just came back from they survived the kiln. You know, the fascinating thing about doing this, both on that scale and on a smaller scale, is that you can't simulate. You can't do a fast stroke slowly, because if you hesitate, it shows. So if you do like this, and then it shows that you're uncertain. And I mean, this is not a lot. This is just some strokes on my shape. But the strokes had to show that they had made a decision and they actually want to go from there to there. And that's why you have to go like this. You can't change anything, you can't take it off, you can't improve anything. But it has to give you the feeling that a decision was made. I mean, that's the experience. That in a form, in a frozen form or a baked form, we keep some decisions that are spontaneous. The sound is a good thing. If it doesn't say like that, something's wrong. It'll show one day. It'll break. These are 4 survivors of 9. We started out with 9 samples, and 2 exploded in the oven, in the kiln. 2 exploded before they were fired, and 1 was run over by a truck. That's, of course, bad luck for everybody. "16 years ago, I was invited by a gallery to do a couple of vases this size for an exhibition. I had never done that before, and it intrigued me because the risk is so big. I mean, you can't change anything, you can't improve anything, you can't go back, you can't regret anything, you can throw it out or keep it. And so I stayed. This is now 16 years ago, and I've been staying at the ceramic factory ever since. And then we did a series of this size. And I had somebody who bought 300. And so to get 300 out of the kiln, you have to make 400. So we had 400 finished, perfect, all different, unique ceramic pieces at the millennium, at the change from 1999 to 2000. And everybody thought the world would tremble and they would all come off their shelves. And I've continued ever since. And of course, goes a little sport in this, and that's why we make the big ones, because you say, how big can we make them and have a fair chance of getting it out in one piece? I only say fair chance because we have had mistakes, we have had catastrophe, and it's risky and it's expensive. I mean, there's a big production cost in this. But the risk is the thrilling thing. Why would I bet on a horse if I can bet on a vase? The studio is one thing, nice and quiet, but the real world is another thing. And I've done a lot of different things. Radio and television, and circled around jazz, journalism. And when I started to go into the States, somebody asked me, what do you want to do there? I said, I'll do everything, what I normally do. Stage sets, journalism, ballet costumes, critic, theater critic, whatever, which is what I do here. And they said, in that case, you're not trying to make it, you're trying to re-educate a continent. Because the States, they want you to be one person. They want you to do one thing. And I stumbled over a quote where Peter Bogdanovich is interviewing Orson Welles. And Orson Welles says, with a much deeper voice than I have, he says that they want you to be one. You become, otherwise you become, they get uncertain. They are not confident. To succeed in one field in the United States is difficult enough. And like he did, and like I did, to try to do it in several fields, it never works. So finally, when I found out that I should concentrate on designing my posters, I have designed 25 posters in the States for cultural institutions. And that was successful. But if I said I also paint, and you need a sculpture, and I'm a ballet critic, and how about the costumes, and I can cook, and should I introduce you? They said, go home, this man is too much. Go home, shut up. I made all those mistakes. And I don't know if you learn anything, but you have fun doing them.